welcome back everyone, welcome back to another day of the World Team League WTL 2024 Summer Code A day number 3. It's been a grueling week so far. We've had day 1 and of course day 2. The past couple of days have been an intense period of StarCraft here, and teams have risen, teams have fallen. We are here to determine who is the first team to be eliminated from WTL Code A. Oh boy, it is going to be an intense night of StarCraft here. You can see the matches before you. SSLT versus Team Gosu, followed by Hyperberg versus Platinum Esports. Oh boy, we're here in the lower brackets of the Code A brackets. One will advance on, the other will be eliminated. 2 teams we will be saying goodbye to here tonight. And which teams exactly, as we're setting up for our first matchup, the Starving Camels versus Team Gosu. Oh boy, this is going to be an interesting one as we have our lineup, TooDming versus Goomba. Wait, what? Looks like there was a roster change here because I believe Rocker was supposed to be playing instead. I believe it was supposed to be TooDming versus Rocker, so it looks like there might have been a player change, or the graphics are wrong. We'll see. But TooDming versus Goomba, followed by Silky versus MeomaikA and Reaper versus Espoir. And it looks like we are deciding which series to play. You can see the graphics shifting around a little bit, so I'm a little bit uncertain as to what's going to be going on here, but it looks like TooDming versus Goomba is going to be on the horizon here, which is a bit of a shame. Rocker is one of the stronger players on Team Gosu, and if Rocker isn't going to be fielded here today, then that is going to give Team Gosu a bit of a disadvantage in the first round. Goomba, can he fight back? Can he bounce back here in this series? Best of luck. Best of luck to Goomba, as TooDming is going to be coming out swinging in this would-be ZVT. Oh boy. Here we go. Again, Goomba, he was a player that we were introduced to yesterday, and here we go. We are loading in, and sporting the bottom left-hand corner, we have top right-hand corner, we have TooDming for the Starving Camels, and in the bottom left, we have Goomba for Team Gosu. Okay, so yeah, as we should switch on over. Sorry, I was just trying to look up on Wikipedia and make sure that everything was looking good. But yes, we're diving into our first matchup, and it does look like Rocker is unavailable this week, or unavailable here today. That is going to be, again, a brutal start here for Team Gosu, but maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe Goomba is their secret weapon, and we did not even need Rocker. It's possible. We'll see. We'll see what Goomba has in store for us. Again, we were introduced to Goomba yesterday, or a couple of days ago, for the very first time. I was pretty unfamiliar with their play style, and we got to see a glimpse of it. They didn't look too bad. We're able to hold their own for a time. We'll see if we can bounce back, though, against the Starving Camels. Big shout to the sponsors, of course. Without them, WTL would not be possible. This event would not be running. And we are sinking our teeth into this ZVT with a very interesting opener. That is a pool first. Uh-oh. TooDming, what are we up to? As game 1 is going to be on Crimson Court. As a reminder to the format as well, this is a best of 7 Team League match comprised of best of 2s. So this series here between TooDming and Goomba is going to be a best of 2, and the first map is predetermined. It is set ahead of time here. Crimson Court, that is. So our players have had some time to prepare for this map, and then it is loser's pick thereafter. Here we go. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Predictions, they were open. I think they might be closing as we speak. But yes, you can place your bets on who you think is going to be taking this series. Best of luck in your predictions here as we are getting into this. Again, I have to favor TooDming. I'm going to be favoring TooDming in this, but I'm cheering for Goomba to make a series out of this, as this is going to be a gasless opener. Okay, so pull first into hatch, into another hatchery. A gasless build here out of TooDming. Quite greedy. Quite greedy here from our Zerg player. What does this mean? This means that we get faster third base, we get faster saturation. The downside here for TooDming is late gas, which means late link speed. Link speed is going to be quite delayed here. Does mean that TooDming can't be too aggressive, too assertive. He can't get across the map anytime soon. It means Goomba is safe to get into his own opener, but I'm not so sure if he can quite punish the build here of TooDming. Also, I'm catching up in the chat. Is this song on a repeat? At least it seems jammed. Ahí está. You're not. Whenever I see someone say jammed like that, I'm thinking of the scene in Spaceballs where they use their jammer and they throw like a big jar of jam at the satellite. That's the scene going through my mind right now. It's great. It's beautiful. You would have liked it, Einstein. You would have liked it. They're jammed, Bob. But here we go. We are getting into our tech of choice. We've spoken about this whenever we cast Dark, but whenever we do have a gasless opener, it is to skip link speed, or traditionally to skip link speed and to go into roaches instead. That's exactly what we're seeing. Roach Warren is on the way. A big shout out to Azul, Papi. Oh my god, Blue. Thank you so much for resubscribing or for the subscription here with Twitch Prime. Glasses, Fiber Glasses, thank you so much. We do appreciate, we always appreciate the support. All the money that we make here on Twitch goes towards our tournament, goes towards the events that we hold. So thank you, we always do appreciate it. And yeah, you can also, if you want, you can join our Discord server. You can enjoy our emotes, you can enjoy replay packs as well. There are some benefits, we do appreciate it. As we're settling into Game 1. Now, when it comes to this gaseous opener, it has come to fruition. Roaches are on the way, and I'm keeping my eye on the drone count. TooDming, he's cutting workers at 32. He's making 3 more overlords. I'm curious if he's going to saturate or if he's going to make a wave of roaches. You can see here, as TooDming is moving out, he's droning. So this roach force is just a show of force. It's not going to be a committed attack. He's going to try and force a reaction, trade a little bit, then back off. Behind this, Goomba is going for a very interesting opener. He had a fusion core on the way, but it looks like he canceled the fusion core. He's going for a Banshee. It is going 3cc Banshee. Roaches, they have arrived. Good target firing here on these SCVs. 3 SCVs going to be going down. We do pick away at the Hellions as well. And you can see that these roaches, they're not going down. Not anytime soon. The depot is going to fall. We break through the depot. We're busting through into the natural base as well. Cyclones, they finally arrive. The bunker is done, and we will hold. But as a reminder, TooDming wasn't committing. Remember, he was just applying pressure, and TooDming was droning up, and now TooDming has a massive worker lead. Behind this, I assumed that Goomba, let's call him Roomba, Goomba had cancelled his fusion core, but no, that is not the case. He let it finish, and we are going into battle cruisers. Okay, so BCs are going to be an interesting one here. We need to know how many queens there are. We need to see the queen count. Without that, we don't quite know how prepared TooDming is. I think he only has 3 queens. I don't know how many exactly he does have. Hellions, they get into the middle line. The drones are getting roasted. 9, 11 drones go down. Late reaction here out of TooDming. 12 workers fall. Hellions are being cleaned up, but they have more than paid for themselves. And Goomba, he's still in this. Goomba is very much so in this, and he's getting into mech. 2 more factories on the way, so it's going to be 3cc into starport into mech of all things. Now, mech has gone through a very interesting change and shift in the new patch. Obviously, the biggest change was to cyclones, and we've actually seen a lot of mech recently. If you were here the past week, we've casted Gumiho and Oliveira, and they've both dabbled in mech in different ways. Oliveira tried to go Mass Cyclone against Dark, didn't work. Gumiho went for a different variation, sprinkling in Cyclones, but going for Banshee, going for Sky Terran, and Gumiho actually beat Dark in this week's ESL Open Cup Asia with mech. I think he meched like 3 out of 4 games. It was insane. So I'm curious how Goomba brings this all together here. First BC gets across the map. We got 5 drone kills already. 5, 6, 7 workers go down. And the queens, they can't keep up. Where are the spores? Spores are out of position. They're not quite where they need to be. 9 more workers go down. We're forcing a reaction. We're forcing out a Spire. And Goomba, he's holding his own. Behind this, he's building up a tank and Hellion count. I do appreciate it. We do need those tanks just to defend against a counterattack. Not too many Cyclones yet. Without Cyclones, we can't really be too active. We're relying on the BC to harass, and I guess Hellions as well. And so far, we've been doing well. BC comes across the new 4th base. Takes out an Overlord. Additional battle cruisers are on the way. And we're making 2 tanks at a time. And despite the initial good start out of TooDming, now he's hurting. He's lost so many workers here. We can see Goomba catching up, recovering here. And there are those upgrades on the way. That is going to be Hurricane engines in production. So it looks like we are going to be eventually incorporating Cyclones. We're getting there. Meanwhile, with the completion of the Spire, we are not going Corruptor. Okay, bold move here to TooDming. He's going to Mutas. 11 Mutas in production. That will help deal with us a handful of BCs. But we do have to be careful. Battle Cruisers can still trade relatively decently against Mutas. They take down one more Queen. Mutas have arrived. Good control at TooDming. He does pull back. And he does force the teleport. Forces Goomba back home. And now TooDming has to recover. You can see here, TooDming takes a worker deficit. He's got 50 more drones on the way. He's trying to catch up. It takes time. The upside of going Muta instead of Corruptor is that you can harass like this. Ooh, but you cannot fight head on. Yeah, one Muta gets shaved off. TooDming, he cannot engage. Has to retreat. And I worry, these Mutas were expensive. They were quite expensive here, and they've yet to pay for themselves. Thankfully, they're still alive, so TooDming, he can always rotate around and find another mineral line, but there's a lot of pressure right now on TooDming to actually make that happen. Otherwise, again, they're just such an expensive investment. So far, has been a loss. Meanwhile, Battlecruisers, they get across the map. They do have teleports available. They should not die. No Spore, by the way. Ay, ay, ay. 5 drones go down. A Queen goes down as well. The Mutas have arrived, and now we should be teleporting away. Oh! To manage to make it back home. That's going to be 5 dead workers, a Queen, for free, essentially. And behind this, you can see Goomba, despite getting Hurricane engines, is going Thor. Okay, we're going into triple Thor production, which I do appreciate here against these Mutas. We have to be careful not to overmake Thors, though. Again, I believe there were only 11 Mutas. We haven't made any more, so we don't want to overinvest. Do need an anti-roach army more than anything right now. TooDming's getting into its hive. Mutas, they do arrive once again, getting into that BC. We should be able to teleport back here. We should have it available. Oh, good target firing out of Goomba. He gets 11 drones. Oh my god, very impressive there. He was intentionally targeting as many drones as possible, avoiding those Mutas. Now, TooDming did drone up to 90, but he hasn't been mining from 90 drones for too long, as the hive is on the way. That will gain access to a greater Spire for Corruptors and Broodlords. Also, Ultras, if we wanted to head in that direction. We have options. And TooDming has maxed out, but so has Goomba. And Bappy, Goomba, he's got a pretty intense army. I'm not so sure if he can be stopped right now. I mean, without spellcasters, without being a little bit more, without having a little bit more initiative here, I'm not so sure. Bailey's they roll in, they take down one tank. There we go, second tank goes down. Ling Bane is getting annihilated, and we are pushing forward. And the problem here is that, how do we deal with these BCs? If the Mutas go in, we have Thors. There we go, we have some Corruptors on the way, but they just started. Goomba looking to snowball out of control, and looking to cause an upset as well. Remember, Goomba, he is a semi-pro player. He's on the B team of Team Gosu. He was not even listed as a part of the lineup on Wikipedia. Goomba, he came in as a replacement, and so far he's looking strong. But here we go, Banelings are finishing, Corruptors are out. And TooDming, can he clean this up? Does roll on forward, good spread here by the Thors. Banelings, they do not touch the Cyclones, they crash into Thors, they crash into tanks, the Banelings go down, and it looks like Goomba has done it. GG gets called, Goomba takes game number 1. Oh my god. GG, very well played here. Goomba will take the first game, able to flex his mech. We spoke about it. Initially, TooDming had a really good start, but first, the Hellion run-by. Remember, we killed so many drones in that first Hellion run-by at the natural base, and TooDming had a very delayed reaction to it, was maybe not taking it seriously enough. His economy was crippled. It was after that that we of course, had the BCs rocking up. Spores were out of position, Queens were out of position. The BCs did so much, and the answer to those battle cruisers was Mutas. And Mutas, it's a really risky response, just because Mutas, they can chase down individual BCs, but they're so fragile, they're so mobile, and you have to make use of that. You have to dance between the army, you have to pick off SCVs, pick off units, you have to be very active with them. We didn't see that out of TooDming. Didn't see that at all. He used them to chase down the BCs. That's all he could do. By the time he got across the map, we had cyclones, we had turrets, we were perfectly safe and sound. Very good setup there by Goomba, and very nice result here. Takes game 1. So this is the beginning of something special here. For Goomba to put a point on the board, despite the fact that he is the weakest player on his roster right now, he's, I should say, maybe the least known player on the roster. Maybe I shouldn't go as far as saying the weakest player. But he is much less known here. He's not as accomplished as MeomaikA or as Reaper. And for him to take a game, for him to potentially 2-0, that is huge. That's a big win here for Team Gosu. A very nice start. Bearing in mind that TooDming is going to be, or is meant to be, one of the players carrying Starving Camels right now. We spoke about it a couple of days ago, where Starving Camels, they're a team that has kind of had a really strong start a couple of years ago, but they've lost a lot of their key players. Firefly joined another team. Cyan joined another team. The Starving Camels, they lost their key players. As a result, TooDming and Silky need to step it up. And TooDming, he needs to fight back here and now on Oceanborn. Here we go. Oceanborn is going to be coming up next. That is going to be TooDming's map of choice. Interesting. This is a good map for a queen push. For a committed queen push, for a committed roach push, I should say. We saw TooDming open roaches and be a little bit assertive in game 1. Here, you can commit a lot harder and you can get a lot more done. I'm curious if he's going to embrace that. In the top left-hand corner, we have TooDming for the Starving Camels. And in the bottom right, we have Goomba for Team Gosu. Here we go. Goomba already exceeding expectations here. Able to take the first game against TooDming, against a veteran in StarCraft. And this could be the beginning of something for Goomba. I remember when we first casted him a couple of days ago, I was trying to look him up on Wikipedia, and he's barely played in anything. He's played in like amateur team leagues, and very little outside of that. He's played like in in-house like events as well, and yeah, this is Goomba's kind of first foray into the pro scene. I'm excited. I mean, you know, I'm excited as you can be with a meching player. Like, smooch. But, you know what? Even though he played mech in game 1, that doesn't mean he has to in game number 2. He could bring out the bio instead. Could go for the man with gun. We'll see. Meanwhile, the openers are a little bit different. We do see TooDming going for a hatch gas pool. As a reminder, TooDming did open up gasless in the previous game, and he got away with it. Did get away with it in Crimson Court. But here on Oceanborn, he's going for a much more standard build instead. Now, there's a bit of a give and take. Because we're going for a standard build, this does mean that TooDming should be able to get link speed. This also means that TooDming is going to be able to be more active on the map, be more proactive when it comes to keeping up with Hellions and even counterattacking as well. Here we go. So where do I transfer the money to sign a petition to make light cast every single Premier tournament? Oh, that's not going to happen. I appreciate it, though, papi. I appreciate it. Gracias, papi. Gracias. One day. It's okay. We're happy here on the CranKy Ducklings. We're happy, papi. We're content. We're content. You know, can I cast a Premier tournament without pants? Can I do that? Really? Maybe. Aye. Not like this. As for now, we're settling into our game. Do you see Goomba getting across the map with his Reaper? Just gonna be poking, prodding, dancing with the units here of TooDming, nothing major. More importantly, scouting his opponent and getting an eye on the third base, or whether or not there is a third. And there we go. The Reaper rotates over towards that third base location, does confirm it's being taken, so he knows it's not a 2-base all-in. And he's gonna be checking the main base as well. I do like this here out of Goomba. Considering what happened in game 1, I think it's very important here for the Terran players to play safe, right? Like, he's already exceeded expectations. He's already done more than he had to take a game that was huge. Now, just be as safe as possible. Focus on prioritize scouting more than anything. Just make sure you don't get cheesed out. And play out your game. behind this. Very interesting. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Goomba is going for a 1-1-1. I believe that is a starport before third command center. I believe there isn't a third. So a much more aggressive build here out of Goomba compared to the previous game. Remember, last game was third CC into starport. There's that third CC now on the way. Ooh, Reaper does go down. Is picked off. And there it is. Starport is now finishing up as we speak. And are we going for an add-on swap? We kind of are. Ah, there we go. So there was no add-on swap. We're making the tech lab on the starport manually. What does that mean? Battlecruiser. Battlecruisers are on the way. Fusion core has been thrown down. The reason why, if you're going for an add-on swap, it's to get into Banshees as quickly as possible. The problem with the BC, and the reason why there's no reason to go for an add-on swap, is because you can't make a battlecruiser until the fusion core is done. You can't start a fusion core until the starport's done. So it does take a little bit longer. There's no reason to, rush into things. Meanwhile, big scout there out of TooDming. He does get in. He does confirm the fusion core. Big moment here for the Blue Zerg player. So now he's fully aware that BC is going to be on the way. He is aware, and how does he respond? Lair first. I like this. It is going to be a lair first here at TooDming. This does mean that as soon as lair is done, we should see a Spire. Spire is going to be prioritized, and he's going to be able to get into either Corruptor or Muta much faster compared to the previous game, and ideally shut down the battlecruisers a lot better as well. So this time, TooDming, he won't be caught with his pants down. We should be throwing down spores momentarily as well, in time for the battlecruisers, and it is going to be mech. Opening up BC usually means mech, but not always. I was holding out hope it could be BC into bio, which is less common, but still viable. Alas, it's not going to be seen here. It is going to be mech. Meanwhile, TooDming, now that the lair is done, bam, instantly we have the Spire. Now, what's important here as the first BC is finishing, if the BC teleports into the main base, if Goomba knows where the Spire is or guesses and gambles, he could focus on that Spire and he could force a cancel before any mutas are made or any corruptors are made. So there is a bit of a window here. There is an opportunity. Here we go. BC has arrived. Spire, it's a quarter of the way done. Well, soon to be half of the way done. And we'll see where we end up heading. Cool. I do appreciate, though, that we have 3 queens in the main, ready for any kind of dive. And interesting, Goomba is not teleporting in. He's going to be floating in instead, which means the Spire should be safe. Spire is going to be safe. Goomba playing it safe as well, just rolling out across the map, trying to get whatever he can. Bearing in mind that Goomba knows he got scouted, so he's respecting TooDming. He assumes that TooDming would be ready in the bases and doesn't want to risk teleporting in. Speaking of being ready, we have 5 queens here in position. Spores are in the mineral lines. BC's going for a queen, but we have transfuse. Yeah, we're not going to get much done. We get 2 drone kills. Looks like we're getting a 3rd drone and a 4th and a 5th. Oh, calm down. 5 working kills, not too bad, and we should teleport back home from here as we get surrounded. Ooh, we do get surrounded. We do quickly teleport away, and we have once again our unit of choice, not Corruptor, Mutalisk again. 2 games in a row. This time it's going to be 7 mutas. That is that is a little bit less compared to last game. Game 1 was 11, if you remember. This time it's going to be 7. Meanwhile, we're investing into +1 range, roach speed, roach production as well. And TooDming is moving out across the map. Meanwhile, what shoots up? We have 2 battlecruisers and we have very few cyclones. Where are the missile turrets, by the way? Uh-oh. No turrets this time. Workers are going down. We go for the mules. We get 2 SCVs. I think we go to mule as well. Yeah, no turrets in the main either. Goomba caught with his pants down. Again, I don't think he saw the Spire, but he should have recognized it would have been on the way, and the turret, it's not done here in the natural either. And TooDming, this is the damage he needed last game. This is what he was looking for. Now he gets 12 SCV kills compared to the 0 that he got in game 1. And now this Muta switch, this Muta transition has done so much more. Roaches are amassing. And you can see TooDming getting ready to collapse on that 3rd base. Now, we do have tanks, but some of them are on siege. Uh-oh. And Goomba, he's not ready for this. The tanks are unsieged. The BCs are going in, but the mutas, they think about turning around. No, we ignore it. We forget about the battle cruisers. We're going for the kill. We're going for the throats. And Goomba, is he siege? He is. Is someone ready for this? Roaches are trying to force their way in. But the wall is solid. GG gets called. Goomba, he holds. He defends against the push despite the worker damage. And Goomba takes a 2-0. Oh my god. He's crazy. GG, well played. Goomba, the replacement, man. Remember, he wasn't even meant to play tonight. It was Rocker. Rocker was signed up to play. Goomba rocks up instead. And Goomba takes a 2-0 win with his mech. GG. Oh, did anyone predict that? Did anyone place their bets on? No, not a single one. It was 100% bets on a 1-1 score. Everyone believed in the 1-1. No one believed in a 2-0 in either direction. Personally, I would have bet 2-0 for TooDming. Not gonna lie. For an unknown, for a ladder hero to rock up in WTL, mate, I had a lot more faith here in TooDming. So for Goomba as well, like, even though Goomba didn't see the army coming, he was in position. He was well set up, and it was a meat grinder, right? Like TooDming, yeah, it was a brutal push. It was a brutal attack. That was best case scenario for Goomba, and he gets away with it. GG. Takes the series. Very well done. Obviously, there's a world where TooDming could have taken a bit of a slower approach. Definitely true. He could have taken a slower approach. But that's not TooDming, right? TooDming, he's not necessarily the most patient of players. Speaking of, we're diving into a very chaotic ZVZ. In the top left-hand corner, we have Silky for the Starving Camels. And in the bottom left, we have his opponent from Vietnam, MeomaikA for Team Gosu. Okay, speaking of aggression, Silky is one of the most aggressive Zerg players out there, especially in the Southeast Asia region, or in the Asia region. This is going to be a quick series, not gonna lie. MeomaikA versus Silky. I'm very excited to see how we open up and how we do approach this. Now, for those of you who were here a couple of days ago, you would know, as predictions are closing, I think. Right, predictions are open. Get your gamba going, Papi. Get your gamba going. Predictions are soon to be open. Place your bets on how you think this is going to unfold. If you were here a couple of days ago, you would know that in WTL Code A, MeomaikA, he went 1-1 with DRG. And Gu, he is no slouch, by the way. Gu is a very, very strong Zerg player, and MeomaikA brought him to his knees as well. Didn't kill Gu, it wasn't a 2-0, but it was a 1-1. So this is not going to be easy for Silky. At the same time, Silky is the ace player of the Starving Camels. He is the team captain. Silky needs to lead the charge here and now and put some points on the board. The pressure is on. And if Silky can't do it, then I mean, I have a hard time believing here in the rest of the Starving Camels. We'll see if he can bring it back. Meanwhile, as we get into our openers, we do have a very interesting opener out of MeomaikA. MeomaikA went for a gas pool. He went for a gas pool opener. What does this mean? This means MeomaikA, he went for a later hatchery with the faster gas, fastling speed. You can see here he's not pulling out. Ooh, MeomaikA is not pulling out of gas. This looks like a Ling Bane all-in. This screams like a Ling Bane all-in. This is kind of like one of my go-to builds. Just gas pool into a hatchery, not pulling out of gas until we get enough for a Baneling Nest. The other variation of this is a Roach Warren for a Roach Rush, but usually you would throw that down a little bit earlier. So this should be a Baneling Nest, as MeomaikA has enough for it, has enough gas. So the nest should soon be thrown down once we have the minerals for it. And you can see here that MeomaikA, he has not droned. He's on 17 workers and not a single drone more. He's massing lings. I'm concerned about the Baneling Nest though, because we have 100 gas. We have had more than enough for a Baneling Nest. Where is it? Otherwise, this is kind of wasted resources. Now we pull out. Okay, MeomaikA second guessing himself a little bit there. Did mine excess gas that clearly he's not using. So really interesting. Regardless, it's going to be a Ling Flood, but not a Bane Bust. And he does avoid the Lings. We go 2 Lings, they do slip in. We do confirm saturation. And the Overlord sees. And now we're walling up. Spine Crawlers instantly on the way for Silky. Spine Crawlers are on the way. Queens are getting in position. They're going to be walling off. Very good reaction so far to Silky. But the Natural is going to be compromised. The Natural should be given up. And the Queens have to be so careful. If the Queens ever move out of position, they can't get surrounded. That's a kill on the Spine. That is going to be a kill. Drones are going to be going down as well, and we're diving on the queens. Okay, we give over the queens. Oh, they're getting baited out. No, now's not the time. Okay, a bit of latency, and we go surround. We spoke about this with the queens. They had to stay on the ramp, and alas, they get surrounded, they get exposed, and Silky's in a lot of trouble. He does barely force us back. He does save the base, though. The base has been saved, and interesting. So I thought that the gas mining was a mistake, that maybe we forgot the baleen nest. That is a roach warren. A late roach warren, but a roach warren nonetheless. Big surround. Oh, good moves here out of Silky. Does surround the lings. But you can see that MeomaikA is going for a follow-up roach all-in. MeomaikA, he has not droned. He made one worker. But MeomaikA still intends to end the game. What I will say, though, is that Silky, he's ahead. Like, Silky, he has a better saturation. He has a higher worker count. We do see him try to go for some harassment. Tries to go for a counterattack. Oh, was the roach spotted? That's a tough one. I'm not sure if Silky saw that roach coming out of the eggs. It was close. If not, Silky doesn't know, and he's droning. Uh-oh. Silky's droning. Silky's getting a baleen nest. Now he's checking the ramp, and now Silky does confirm the roaches. He's aware. And we need spine crawlers. We will need spine crawlers here. There it is. You can see on the production tab, Silky, the first spine crawler's on the way. MeomaikA's droning. Uh-oh. Now is a rough time to drone. Look at the worker disparity here. We have 27 workers versus 19. Okay, MeomaikA makes one drone, and now he's making roaches. So he's still all in. MeomaikA's still all in, but the longer this game goes on, the better it is for Silky. The better it will be. Baleen nest is done. Baleen's going to be on the way. Silky, he is finishing up his first spine crawler. Queen's getting in position. MeomaikA, he's making more drones. I'm not convinced here by the droning. Like, again, it's just such a difficult position to try to macro out of. It is so difficult. And here we go. Silky wants to be the aggressor, rolling up the ramp, going for the kill here, trying to break that natural waste of Meo. There is a wall of queens, a wall of roaches. Silky having a hard time breaking through at the same time. MeomaikA goes for a backstab, it goes for a counterattack. And 6 drones go down. Silky is losing workers. Meanwhile, Balings, they do get into the middle line. Big connections. We do clean up, what is that? 6 drones. 6 and 7 workers go down respectively. Oh, it looks like we're getting some lag spikes here with the clean feed. Looks like the clean feed is having some connection issues, and hopefully it clears up. Like, now is not the time. Obviously, if the players are feeling this, they would be pausing. I'm pretty sure the players should be fine. It's just the connection of the clean feed out to the casters. So I do apologize for that. Hopefully it clears up. The first best of 2 was perfect. Like, Goomba versus TooDming was perfectly fine. So hopefully it does clear up. As we do see Silky backing off. MeomaikA, I'm a little bit in shock. I was convinced that droning would not be a way out of this, that Silky would overwhelm. But because Silky went for his own counter-aggression, because Silky has not taken a third, bearing in mind, Silky has map control, and he has not taken a third base, which means that MeomaikA, he's catching up. He's catching up in workers. He's getting there. Like, MeomaikA is stabilizing. And this is partly on Silky. It does look like Silky wanted to go for his own counter push. As a result, despite having map control, this third base is late. He hasn't been droning. His tech is late as well. It was a risky maneuver here out of Silky, and I spoke about it in the introductions about how Silky is a very aggressive Zerg player himself, and sometimes that works against you. To not calm down, to not macro. And now we have to. Now he's forced to drone. And that wasn't the initial plan. As the dust is settling, MeomaikA, he has the faster upgrades. Faster lair, faster +1 carapace. Somehow, someway, MeomaikA, he's taken his own lead. Which is crazy. Look at the resource loss, pretty comparable here. Silky losing more minerals, actually. And now we're in an interesting game state. Now, Silky is taking his third base faster than that of MeomaikA, true. But MeomaikA has his own advantages, and Meo, it looks like he's going for his own 2 base all-in. like all in after all in after all in here from Meo. Otherwise, we would be seeing a third, or we would be seeing a little bit more. As I say that, we are making some drones. It looks like Meo, he's only just saturating his 2-base setup. Meo, he could mine through the minerals on the left-hand side and take a safe base there, if he wanted to. I mean, both players could. But has opted not to yet. And look at the supplies here, as they're pretty similar with each other. Both players are still sprinkling in roaches. Really what we're waiting for is the upgrades. Like, the upgrade timing from MeomaikA is going to be huge. +1 carapace and roach speed. Yeah, so wait a little bit longer for that to kick in. Third base from Meo is now being taken. And with roach speed, he will be able to reinforce across the map a lot faster. He's going to be able to kite and, of course, out-micro his opponent, or has the potential to out-micro Silky. No Ravagers from Meo, just purely Roach. Silky's got his own Ravagers at least. That will help him out. That will force micro out of Meo. And there we go. Roach speed has kicked in. +1 carapace as well. But Meo, he's still chilling back at home. And you can see here that Silky has been droning. Silky is up to 52 workers. He's been happily saturating his third. Meo hasn't. So once again, Meo, he's falling behind in the economy. And I feel like I'm like repeating myself quite a bit here, saying that, you know, the longer this goes on at this point, the better it is for Silky. As Silky should be able to overwhelm and just surpass Meo when it comes to the supply, when it comes to the army, with a better economy. So I feel like Meo, we have to pull the trigger soon. But we may opt to wait for more upgrades. Like, this is interesting. Silky's one to move out first, actually. Okay. This could work out for Meo. Silky is pushing. Roach speed is about to kick in for our blue Zerg player. You know, he's set up. He has a decent army. Has his own Ravagers. There we go. Is going to engage. Has a better concave as well. Oh, but Lings, they coming from behind. Silky trying to set up a surround as well. That is going to be huge, and Silky can break through. Again, those things doing such a great job here, just tanking shots. Yeah, Ravagers are going down. Silky forcing his way in. Ignores the natural. He's going for the third. A very mature response here out of Silky. Yeah, drones are going down. Just a very safe way here to ensure that he does maintain his lead. Doesn't throw away his army. Doesn't try to force his way up the ramp. Ooh, everyone's going to be going down. And you can see here, Silky, now he's secured himself. He is up heavily here in supply. Has a massive army. MeomaikA, he almost bounced back into this. I was shocked when the game settled on 2 bases. But as the game settled on 2 bases, MeomaikA, it felt like he was of 2 minds. He was still taking a third and still squeezing out drones. Like, it felt like he wanted to macro, but also all in at the same time. It was a weird game state there for Meo. And here, Silky has outscaled him. You know, Meo, he wasn't able to make use of his faster upgrades. Like, that's what I was expecting, right? We were hyping it up, right? Roach speed and +1 carapace was finishing faster, and it did. But didn't make use of it. And now, all Silky has to do is contain. The reality is, all he has to do is just contain MeomaikA. You can see back at home, he's droning. We have +2 on the way. Hydroden is done, which means we can gain access into, well, we can go head towards Hive Tech for Vipers. We can tech however we want. Silky has the freedom to do so. And MeomaikA, his best chance here would be to somehow outposition Silky with a Roach counterattack, maybe borrowed Roaches, Roach drop, or just a run by, and somehow try to drag Silky back home. But again, it's just such a slim chance of pulling that off. Especially with all these overlords. Like, there's vision everywhere. It's going to be so difficult to get a harassing force out across the map. And there's the infestation pit. There's the lurker den. Silky is headed towards Hive Tech. Towards Hydro Lurker Viper. Just refining his army. And it's a numbers game at this point. Silky, he's the one to peel off some roaches, going for the third. Oof, Biles do connect. They supply block Meo. Evo Chamber's gonna go down. We denied +2. Big cancel. And again, pushing up a ramp is difficult in this matchup. Even if you have a supply lead, you can throw away that lead, pushing into a concave. But MeomaikA, he gives up on the ramp, does pull back, and we snipe the natural. Meo, he's down to 1 base. Oh my god. Yeah, he's just being picked apart. There's no keeping up with Silky, not anymore. But this was a very chaotic game. It was very back and forth. It was an interesting start. Remember, it was gas first with extra gas into a Ling Flood. Into Silky almost throwing and going for his own counterattack and unable to kill Meo. The game stabilized at one point, but not anymore. As Silky does throw away some roaches. Uh-oh. Silky has to be careful. There's a lot of roaches being thrown away at the same time. Does collapse you on the army, going for the Ravagers. Biles, they will graze the army. MeomaikA forces to split up his units. Lurkers are on the way. The concave isn't looking too bad here from Meo, but again, he's just running out of steam. He will force back the army. Lurkers have arrived. Where's the dissection? There is none. GG gets called with the revelation of the Lurkers, and Silky, he fights back. Casters in-game, in any of these. Instead, it is observed by the Chinese production team, by SE Boy. They do handle the production of WTL and Kung Fu Cup and many other events like Masters Coliseum and Stars War. And they send us a clean feed instead. And here we go. We're getting into this. And in the top left-hand corner, we have Silky for the Starving Camels. And in the bottom right, we have MeomaikA for Team Gosu. But they handle the production. They handle the observing. And because they're, of course, broadcasting from the land of China, they use a VPN to send us the clean feed. And because that sometimes is not the most stable of connections via the VPN. So, sometimes there's some latency, but thankfully it's only sometimes. It's not the norm. Thankfully it is not the norm. As MeomaikA going for a pull first. Okay, very interesting pull first here from Meo. Meanwhile, we have Silky going for a hatch first instead. Now, bearing in mind, this is only a pull first. This could actually be a gasless opener. It's going to be a pull hatch build out of MeomaikA. He could delay his gas even further than that, just to make queens and drones and be a little bit greedier. But as I say that, gas is now being taken. So it is just going to be a pull first opener here out of MeomaikA. The purpose of this should be to make lings early on, to move out with 4 to 6 lings and try to pick off some drones and try to out micro Silky. Can MeomaikA pull it off? Can he out-control his opponent? We'll see. We'll see if we even make any lings. MeomaikA does have a queen on the way. Meanwhile, you can see Silky, his own spawning pool, still not quite done. And Meo, for now, it looks like he's only droning. I'm still waiting for the Overlord to finish, but yeah, he's just sticking with drones. Okay, so it looks like just a very safe build out of MeomaikA. What I mean by that, if Silky had gone for a 12 pull, or if Silky had gone for a 13-12 or a 12-11, any of these early pull builds, then MeomaikA essentially would have hard countered. Like, this pull first is just very safe, and he would have just completely shut it down. So I was assuming that MeomaikA was going to be a little bit more assertive with it, but no, just very safe play here from Meo. Again, Silky has a reputation, so it does make sense for MeomaikA to open up the way that he did. We can see that it wasn't really worth it, or that Silky played an open up standard. But I can understand the rationale for MeomaikA. As because of the opener, he's just now getting into the rest of his saturation. He did skip all of his lings, so with the extra lava, MeomaikA actually does have a worker lead. Does have that worker lead as he is staying in gas. Oh, and we see why. I was curious. I'm like, yo, that's a lot of gas that MeomaikA is working with, and that is a very fast roach one. Likewise, Silky did the same. He did not pull out of gas, and we're going for a fast lair. Okay, we're clowning on each other. Neither player pulled out of gas with that extra gas, guys, or we're skipping Bailings. Both players are. MeomaikA is going for a Roach Rush. Meanwhile, Silky is investing into a fast lair. This could be for 2-base Muta. It just could be for 2-base Roach. Regardless, MeomaikA will hit first, and Silky is being quite a bit greedy here. He's teching up, he's droning up, and now he sees. He sees Lings at least moving out. Silky has an idea. He needs to wall off. And there it is. There's that wall. Again, this is the power of this map of Side Delta. That ramp is quite narrow. Doesn't take too much to wall off. He's set up for this, but there's no Spike Ruler. Uh-oh. No Spike Ruler inside. Roach Warren is still on the way. MeomaikA, he backs off. He's droning. MeomaikA, he doesn't believe he can break his opponent. He is droning up behind this instead. And I have to give the edge to Silky. Silky gets away with the lair, gets away with the Roach Warren, gets away with fast Roach speed that's on the way. MeomaikA, he invested quite heavily here into this army, and he wasn't able to make use of it. So MeomaikA has to be greedy. He's doing exactly what he needs to. Behind this, MeomaikA is getting a third, and you can see he's droning up hard. He has to be as greedy as possible to make up for this deficit. We'll see if he can. Because Mio is going to pull back. Does end up pulling back here. Meanwhile, Silky, he actually cut drones, by the way. He did not fully saturate his natural. Silky is building up a roach count. He's going for his own push. Okay, interesting. I mean, we'll see how we commit. Silky, he might just be a little bit afraid of Mio, so he's just building up an army before he expands, or he could just move out. Yeah, roach speed is kicking in 10 seconds, and Silky is pushing out. Yeah, oh my god, the creep highway is set up as well. MeomaikA getting ready back at home, amassing more roaches. He has a concave. Silky is droning behind this, which means he doesn't intend to commit. You can see him parked outside the bases. Does poke in. But this is basically Silky puffing up his chest. He's just playing a game of chicken here, trying to force an overreaction out of MeomaikA. And Silky is droning up as best he can behind this. Getting into burrow and tunneling claws, and you can see Silky back off. So again, this is a big part of ZVZ, is posturing with your roaches, trying to fake out your opponent, trying to force overreactions, stop them from droning while you drone up yourself. So really nice move there out of Silky. With that, he's able to catch up despite not having a third. Speaking of, that third is under fire, but he should save it. Silky does save the base. Does save the base. Mew behind this, getting into his own roach production as well. And the game is going to be calming down. The game is going to be calming down from here. But it does look like Silky is going to be the first to hit the field. I'm concerned about that burrow. I don't see much detection, and I don't think MeomaikA has really recognized what's going on. Tunneling Claw roaches, they can be so annoying to deal with, and MeomaikA could be torn apart. Could be torn apart here. We'll see. There we go. Silky is pushing. Burrow is done. Tunneling Claws is done. And do we have any detection? Oh, we do not. There's no spores. There's no Overseer roaches. They are getting into the main. The main base and the natural. Ay, ay, ay. There we go. They do on Burrow. Drones are going down. Silky pushing in. It looks like he doesn't quite catch the army. But he does get the drones, and that's what matters. 11 workers go down and getting a couple more hits on, or hits in on the army. That's going to be 15 dead workers, 16. That's an entire mineral line going down. Good trades here from Silky. And he does back off. And just like that, Silky takes a massive lead. He's still in the main. No shot. He's still in the main base. He's still killing more workers. And this is becoming too much. This is becoming game-ending damage. As there's still burrowed roaches in the natural as well. Where is the detection? Where is the detection, by the way? I don't see any overseers. And MeomaikA is all in. He's had enough. He's down to 22 workers. He is not redroning. MeomaikA is completely all in. All Silky has to do is survive. Easier said than done. Spine crawlers are on the way. We need as many spines as possible. Does collapse on the army. Does catch some of the Ravagers. Very nice catch. Ravagers are going down. We have the Concave as well. Yeah, MeomaikA is running out of steam. He's running out of army. He was crippled, and it looks like Silky, he's bouncing back in this series. The Starving Camels, they had a rough start, but GG gets called, and Silky will take the 2-0, tying up the series 2-2. GG. Oh my god. Oh my, very intense ZVZ there between MeomaikA and Silky. There was a lot of posturing. There was a lot of posturing, a lot of aggression here. Unfortunately, when MeomaikA went for his own 2-base all-in, he saw that Silky was able to get a read on it, was able to wall up. We saw that as soon as Silky was able to defend on 2 bases, he had a pretty substantial lead, and he was able to make use of that to rush into tunneling claws, to rush into burrow, and MeomaikA just had no idea what was going on. He was not ready for it whatsoever, and it just straight up killed him then and there. Burrow was the MVP, and GG, well played. Silky bounces back. Again, Silky, he is the ace player of the Starving Camel, so if anyone could take some games, it would have been Silky. But now it comes down to a TVZ. Oh boy, Esper versus Reaper. Reaper, if you're unfamiliar, he is the cheesiest Zerg player in all of the Americas. In all of the Americas, he's the cheesiest one. I do not expect a macro game. I expect nothing but all-ins out of Reaper. And I worry because Esper is another quote-unquote ladder hero. He's an amateur player. He's not an established pro like Reaper or MeomaikA or Silky or TooDming. He's like the Goomba of the Starving Camels. Honestly, it would have been fun to have seen them face off. It would have been really fun to have seen Esper and Goomba face off against each other. That would have been great. What was it? Looks like they may have restarted their stream. But now he's up against Reaper, and I'm concerned that Esper is unfamiliar with him. Reaper has a reputation. If you talk to any of the NA players, and even some of the Europeans, they know about Reaper. They know who he is. They are familiar with his play. Is Esper familiar with his play? That's the question. Does he know? Does he know to play safe? Does he know what's coming? Oh boy. Here we go. Meanwhile, if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Predictions are open. Place your bets, as predictions will be closing in a minute, so you don't have much time here to try to bet on who you believe will take this. It's going to be a tough one here. I want to give the edge to Reaper, but it's still going to be a tough call just because Esper is such an enigma, right? Like, just like Goomba, like, I don't really know what to expect from these two players. I don't know what their strengths are. I don't know what their weaknesses are. I'm speaking specifically of Esper here. I don't know what his tendencies are either, and yeah, it's a big gamble. It is going to be a big gamble here. Reapers from the America feels bad, man, as we just got an update, as you can see here. Before we went on that break, welcome back, everyone. Welcome to our first matchup of the night of SSLT versus Team Gosu. We just got an update. It looks like Reaper is MIA. Usually if there was a break this long, it's because a player is missing, and it looks like Reaper did not show. The walkover period ended, and Esper gets the 2-0. Technically 2-0s, and that's this is brutal, but this is so sad. It was up in the air, right? We were tied up 2-2, and Reaper was favored 100%. Reaper was favored in this series, and if Reaper were able to even win one game, most likely two, but even one would have forced the ace match, Team Gosu could still be in this tournament. They could advance on into the next round, but Reaper does not show. And as a result, Team Gosu is eliminated. Team Gosu, they are eliminated from the tournament. I mean, a big shout out to Goomba. That's the other. Oh god, it's so sad. Goomba did so well. Goomba 2-0 TooDming. Like, Goomba, he did beautifully here today, and it was kind of for nothing. Unfortunately, despite the wins from Goomba, MeomaikA was unable to capitalize on that, and Reaper did not show. Hopefully it's nothing serious. Hopefully it isn't, you know, Reaper maybe having something IRL going on where he couldn't make it. At the same time, though, if it wasn't anything serious, I'm shaking my head. I know it's a bad time in the Americas. I know it's very late in the Americas or very early, depending on where you are. But it's not at a good time slot. But that is such a shame. That is such a shame. GG, well played. Congratulations to the Starving Camels. They win via forfeit. My condolences to Team Gosu as they do bow out. But a special shout out to Goomba. Special shout out to Goomba here because I was very impressed with how he performed, very impressed with his play, and I hope we see more of him. I hope we see more of Goomba in the future. Meanwhile, we're going on a short break here, and when we return, I promise you we will have some StarCraft. We have another elimination match. Hyperberg versus Platinum Esports. See you in 3 minutes.